Okay, interesting loading scheme here. Discord, thanks.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shanties. We're on Shanties number 9, and if you're wondering why this isn't Shanties 10, don't think about it. The other one was 8.5.
Oh shit, did I miscount?
Don't worry about it. The other one was 8.5. Okay, so we'll be talking. Quick reminder that we'll be talking up to episode 106. So if you're not caught up, we still want your view. Just mute us and put us in the background. Yeah, imagine what we're saying. It's gonna be like a silent movie. And our intro disclaimer. As always, all of these questions came from viewers. So if you want to ask a question for the next Shanties, leave them, best place, put in our Discord channel. We've got dedicated channels for that. And that way you make sure you don't get lost in the void of the YouTube comments.
That's true.
All right, so joining me today are Ray Lotus, Cryo the DM, Noah, and Meister Dolus.
All right, great. Can I just?
Name.
I want to ask a question right off the rip, just for all of us.
Let's go. Yeah.
What do we have to do to get anybody to spell any name right?
I don't know, man. We put out a spelling sheet and it doesn't work.
Apparently, we have to put a spelling sheet out for our own names as well.
Can I point out, Sirenbot has a thing where if someone spells any character's name wrong, she'll correct them, and I turned it off because it was happening too often.
I hope my name is not one that is being misspelled.
No, but I did just see somebody misspell. Like we've been doing this.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been doing this show for 2 years and some change now, and somebody just misspelled Ray's name.
I mean,
It's
I
Ray.
get it.
To be fair, on screen Ray's name is Numwick. Like you don't
Okay,
put Ray.
but it's Gil, and Gil's in our Discord where Ray's name is spelled correctly.
I would hope my name is spelled correctly on Discord.
I'm gonna misspell it now, actually.
It's very fun when it's our regulars. You know us.
It's fun when it's the regulars because then we can make fun of them. Like if Jet spells my name wrong, I could be like, "Good job, Jet."
Yeah. When you're new, we have mercy. When you've been here for several years and you forget that Hick doesn't have a K and Socks does, it hurts a little bit.
That's so funny.
I like misspelling all of your names.
Wait, did you say Hick doesn't have a K?
Yeah, when it's just Hick,
I know
it's
you mean
HIC.
the shortened Hick, but
Yeah.
it's just really funny the name Hickory being on screen
Yeah.
with a K when you say it.
Yeah. Well, also Socks, when it's fully spelled out, doesn't have a K. But because Lotus said it.
Socrates. It's spelled out fully, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't think, like... I understand the confusion. I don't think it's ever been verbally said that it was SOCKS.
Yeah,
So
man.
newer
I mean,
viewers-
It was on the layout,
Actually,
actually.
Hold
Since
on, wait,
episode
no.
1.
No, that's fair. If they're spelling the shortened version of Socrates without a K, I feel like that's pretty. You're the one who's spelling it wrong. You're just choosing to add a letter.
But no, it's because Lotus called Socks, and I know that Ray and I talked about that joke forever to where it was clearly spelled with a K, and on the layout since like episode 1, as soon as she called Socks, he got the K.
But
I mean, it probably complicates matters that Socrates in Greek is spelled with a K. So, anyways, it's still K.
Why'd you have to add that information? Now it's now all of our points are just moot, and we should just start the
Now
show.
everyone is wrong.
That's the reason I don't say names in chat. Ethan, we're just kidding. You can say people's names.
Yeah, no, it's just
I
it's a
liked
joke.
when that one character did that thing.
Can we just name all our characters John?
I've been trying with NPCs for a long time, but you guys call me lazy when they're all named John.
Well, we did have
everyone's characters can only be names from the Bible. That's
It's biblically correct.
in an episode that's not out yet. We did have both a Timmy and a Jimmy, if I remember correctly.
We had a Tim and a Jimmy, and also Jimmy is a name that has been used before.
Well, more than one person
Starlost
can
is
have the
gonna
name
be-
Jimmy, okay, Cryo?
No, I
It's
have
also gonna be
no
like that
recollection
joke
of
about
this.
About an improv group. It's Matt, Steven, Matt, John, and Matt.
Perfect. Yeah, we had a Jimmy before. It was one of the rats that Hush was friends with when we were going through the
Cool.
underground.
I don't feel as bad for not remembering this NPC.
I couldn't remember where I'd used the name Jimmy, but I knew I used it. But I was like, "Fuck it, this NPC is gonna be Jimmy." And then like 10 minutes after session ends, Ray DMs me and is just like, "Jimmy was the name of Hush's rat friend," and I was just like, "Why
Like,
do you know?"
Who fucking cares? Like, good
great,
for Hush
though.
for having friends, but like, who fucking cares what his name was?
Oh, holy shit! We have a lot of questions this go.
Yeah,
around.
we
I
do.
mean, granted, I believe
77.
this is the longest gap we've ever had between shanties.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like 30 plus.
Can I point out, Ray's notes are great, except for when I had to reread every note to prepare for this, and it was 80 pages.
I'm sorry.
No. Do not apologize. I need that.
Oz
yeah,
has
because
officially
Ray's
done
the
the
only
most
person
amount
who
of
write
prep
down
for
the
this.
rat name.
Names are important. Ever since we lost 13, I've been super meticulous with my notes just in case, because for the longest time we didn't know when Lotus put her ribbon on
It's true.
shoes.
Yeah.
And it drove me nuts, and I wasn't gonna rewatch like 3 episodes.
So, if you want to raise notes, join our Ko-fi. It's available for any Ko-fi members. If you want to, we've got a lot of things in there. Do we want to start with a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll lob a softball before I get into my real English major questions. Queen
God.
Cat asks, if you could bring any NPC onto the ship permanently, who would you choose?
I feel like I know who it is off the rip for at least Ray.
I mean, if I was Hush, the answer would be Petrie.
Marcy,
But I'm not Hush.
Alina's on the ship.
Alina's the only NPC where this is a wrong answer.
Alita's also not a background NPC anymore. She's part of the group.
She is arguably Cryo's like gateway to like play with us.
I got it. My answer is Jimmy, the rat from Hush's Sewers.
Yeah.
Milnus
is still my favorite character.
Milnus.
I think Cryo kind of peaked with Milnus.
Yeah,
and
Milnus
I-
is definitely up there. Oh god. I would
severely underestimated how much you guys were gonna like a weird little guy. He was here for like
little
10
guy.
minutes.
Oh my god, dude, I had the fun. I'm so sorry, I'm derailing this immediately. I had the funniest idea for a potential character for campaign 2. Just a really buff, really suave looking man with beautiful hair, nice mustache, and he's like super like heroic, has like his hand on his sword at his hilt. He's like super hot, and then they just walk up and they're like, "Oh, what's your name?" "My name is Milnus Jr."
Okay, hear me out. You say it in Milnus' voice, dude.
No. That's the subversion of the expectation.
Honestly, I would say Vala. I really like Vala's really grown on me. In a very interesting way to where like she's just a little shit. But like she brings a lot to the table with being a potion crafter, I guess we'll say, an alchemist. And also she's a weird foil to Lorelai, to where I would like to see that dynamic more often.
Good to know.
He's also a dragon.
Yeah,
It's
2
true.
dragons.
2 dragons.
2 dragons. 2 of them.
2 of them.
What do you want? A dragon? No, 2 dragons.
No.
Okay,
I
there,
miss Maya.
Are you missing
Can we
Maya?
Oh,
Can
Maya
we
is
get
fair.
Maya back?
Go to Dragon Lost. Get Maya.
Dragon Lost.
Please.
Go to Dragon Lost. Look, Kieran, keep walking.
Go to Dragon Lost. You can get 2 people back.
Yeah, can we get Kieran back on as an NPC?
And we get to meet Raiden. Nice.
Let's go.
That's how long this span between shanties has been. I had enough time to come back and then leave again.
That's true.
Oh my god, yeah, we haven't done a shanty since the live session, have we?
Nope.
It was right before.
Yep.
It was
Oh,
85.
that session was so fun. That was the
That was
first
so
time
much
I
fun.
ever played IRL D&D. It was the vibe.
I would love to
Oh.
have a real table next time.
Same. I would love to have a full like setup with buttons and be able to do funky shit.
And also not have it be 9 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, Oz.
Starlost Vacation.
All
win.
right. This is a cryo question that is incredibly targeted for one reason. How old was Martin's body before it got killed?
Old.
Ace asks, and then puts in parentheses, this is important, I need to prove a point.
So Martin, as we know him, like as the person of Martin, was alive for almost 200 years before he got disintegrated.
Wow.
So he became a Holdmaster 70 years ago, and he was involved in a bunch of the riots and uprising in the Talon Isles before that. So yeah, he was close to 200.
For all
He is
intents and
not
purposes, he was human, correct?
Yeah.
The
Visibly,
man
yeah, as far
formerly
as you
known
can
as
tell.
Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like this kind of magic thing where some people are old but aren't visibly old, and I guess they just don't question it. It must be like one of those things of, you don't ask how old somebody is.
Yeah.
It is one of those things that the people of the Empire were just like, he's the Archmage. Of course he doesn't age.
Yeah, he's built different.
Yeah. A wizard did it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a question I think we asked like in the first shanties, but it's worth now that we have different characters and different builds. Jet asks, and Matt Chat also asks, if you could swap characters with somebody, who would you play? Either for a mechanical standpoint or you want to try their story.
Did I say Lotus the first time? I might have said Lotus the first time.
I think you did, because you were still Sock's brain, so you were like, oh, we can switch, and then I won't be a caster. And now you're here.
Now you're...
Oh god. Does it have to be a character that's alive? I would kind of actually love to switch with Mara.
Yeah, I was thinking Mara too, but Mara like after he comes back for a little bit
Yeah.
because like what the fuck was that teleportation that he did?
Yeah.
Was that like a new like did he change race or something?
Technically, he didn't change race. Technically, it was his race the entire time. He just never used it.
Oh, cool.
The most
Yeah.
pulse thing I've just heard.
I feel like Mara would probably be the one that I really would want to swap in with for a little bit. Assuming, not saying I want to swap into being dead.
That can be arranged.
Because I could just switch to Socks if I wanted that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what about you?
I don't fucking I don't really have. I don't know, man. I like my character sheet. I don't think about using anyone else's. I just, I guess my only one would be Twink, just because like I feel like there are like hidden things on his character sheet that like we still don't know about, like items that have effects that we still don't know about and shit like that. That's my only real answer.
I remember thinking about, like, because at early game, Ian and Twink would keep all of the items secret and keep all of those things secret. I was like, oh, it was when Twink was getting used to the party. And I found out episode 106, he's still doing it.
Ian is
Stop
just
Ian.
that person.
Stop.
I really want to play anything Crow has made. Crow had that one character from So Below, the, like, slap you and heals you, and that was just such a powerful build. I'm just like, that's fun to play.
Crow builds very
We're
mechanically
including one-shot
interesting.
characters. I would want to play. I would want to play Ikora Tithe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fuck
you've
that
never
bitch.
done that.
Oh, if we're including one-shot characters, it's a whole different question.
Yeah, I was about to say that becomes very different.
Yeah, one shot y'all go experimental with both story and mechanics.
Yeah.
Because you know you don't have to weigh yourself
I-
on them for 100 episodes.
If we're including one shots, I would want to play Styx. Was that Pulse's character's
Yeah,
name?
this
in
Blade
Yes.
Singer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just at one
Blade
point, he
singing
said
baby.
that his AC was like 30 something. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, when he used everything, including popping shield, his AC was like 31.
That's crazy. I love it.
I, as the zealot who had a huge to hit, could only hit him if I rolled like a 19 or a 20.
I would love to play Claude, actually. Yeah, I feel like there
Really?
are mechanics that I have never gotten to see that you've sort of hinted at, that I really would love to kind of kick around and explore. But I also agree with Kate, where he's like, I like my character sheet, but I have that twofold. I literally do get to swap character sheets every few sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, but purely from a story perspective, LeBlanc, the guy Cryo played in Sanctity, I want to play that character just because I love Lupin the Third. And I was like, I want to play a character like that because that is like the best build for just
I
like,
love-
you know, the little shit.
I loved being LeBlanc, who was pretending to not be LeBlanc.
I didn't change his name quickly because I was too busy laughing. I forgot to change his name.
I realized I was like, if we're including one-shot characters, this is a whole different story. And I thought about it, and it's really not a different story. I like my characters in the one-shots too. I'm just like I don't know. Maybe it's like I don't know. I don't. It's why I have never been able to do like where there's like pre-built characters and you play one of those. It's like I like my D&D characters because I like pour my soul into them. And so, like, playing anybody else's character for me would just be like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm playing more of a board game at that point than a TTRPG, if that makes sense.
You in particular, like, I know that I build a lot of like funky mechanics, go figure, but like you definitely always feel like you build your characters for you. Like, technically you could probably take Socks and throw it around to any one of us and it would kind of make sense. Hickory and Doc are a more specialty case, but like all my other characters, somebody else could have made those and it makes sense. But every time there's a K character, and it's why I never answer any of your characters, because they are so distinctly you.
Yeah, no, I a lot of my characters I make because I have like an idea in mind and I'm like or like some kind of inspiration or something that I think is cool and I just like morph it all around this singular like point and then it just becomes this weird amorphous blob, but I love my weird amorphous blobs.
Watching Kay make characters, because we often bounce ideas back and forth. Like when it comes to one shots and whatever, it's like it's fucking magic. Seeing something where Kay is like, oh, what if this idea? And just watching him take it and run is fucking awesome.
Why does that? I literally, this is really an exaggeration. I look at a spell that I've never read before, and I'm like, "Oh, this would be so cool," and then I add it. That's it. That's not. You're saying it like I'm like a wizard, like pouring things into a cauldron,
motherfucker.
I feel
The
like
mystique of the artist. But the artist is just there.
everybody's got their kind of signature when it comes to characters. Like Kay builds these like very like specialized like they're made with a clear intent in mind, whether that's personality wise or spell wise. Ray, God, you always bring story. Like you all like there's always some element to where you're like your characters have these defining moments. Like that it's always a core feature. Every single character you have has this one moment that like defines them. As far Pulse just brings whatever the hell would raise the most hell.
It's true.
Crow, for the most part, takes by the book D&D and pushes it to its absolute limit. And then Ian, still unpredictable in a lot of ways because we've only really seen Twink, especially when it comes to Starlost content. I've only ever seen him play one other character, and it was at MomoCon 2 years ago.
It was not what I expected Ian to make.
No. And then, am I missing somebody? Am I missing anybody? I think I nailed everybody
If we're
except
missing anybody,
myself.
That is our most forgettable friend.
I'm saying of the main players right now. Now, Cryo, let me actually, because I didn't mention me either, dumbass. As far as what Cryo goes, Cryo is a lore character. Like, he always wants these things to be very in depth, and like, granted, it helps because all of our one shots are Starlost one shots, and he knows Starlost better than everybody, so he can he can kind of manipulate the world. But like, the world isn't centered around him, but every character he's ever made is very intentional in the world. They all have a purpose to the grander scope.
I like adding new shit when I play a character.
And I piss off Cryo. He either tells me a homebrew idea.
You don't piss me off. You just come to me with like a completely new off the cuff idea like a week before a thing, and you're like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I built Hickory and Doc. Rome wasn't built in a day, but Hickory and Doc were. And yeah, pretty much I am the homebrew. I like every time Cryo brings me a homebrew or I bring him one, there's always going to be some sucker punch to where it's like, I will attempt to redefine D&D in some way.
I think that answered your question.
Yeah. The next question is from Lily, which I really like, just from a writing perspective. When planning the story of Starlost, did you ever consider the literary elements like themes or motifs, or did you just happen naturally as you guys were playing? Like, ostensibly that's for Cryo, but it could be applied to anybody because each of your characters have like a narrative theme that they're focused around that I think like builds on as the story progresses.
From the rip, and now it's kind of been revealed to the cast, so I'm super open to talk about it. From the rip, the theme or primary motif of Starlost was what makes someone real, like what makes you a real person. And it's obvious now because, there's the information we have about the party and then all that stuff that happened with Hush. And Hickory and Doc are struggling with it in their own way of like one existing while the other doesn't. So yeah, the entire concept is just like, if you are not considered real, like what makes you become real? And so it's just interesting seeing how the party approaches that question, because I'm not trying to give them answers. I'm just kind of letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to say, do you guys have any literary themes you bring to your characters?
Well, when I first started as Dolus, I did not know that I would be specifically on this version of this path, but I did, like, from the beginning, have this idea of Dolus struggling with with killing people, and like when death becomes necessary, and sort of his understanding that sometimes death can become necessary, and then through his own character flaws warping that idea in various ways, and eventually I was very inspired by Epic the Musical, of like the themes of ruthlessness and what it means to become a monster for a person, like when does a man become a monster, etc. And yeah, so to answer the question, at the beginning, no, not entirely, but I've just sort of been like adding on to a base idea, and which has become like a thematic thing by now.
I think for Lotus, it very much comes down to, can I imagine her doing this? If yes, do it. If no, think about it a little bit more. Maybe you can work it in, but like, yeah. It's all vibes.
Hickory
Live
and
by the
Doc,
vibe, die by the vibe.
Hickory and Doc were definitely very similar to Dolus, to where like they came in with like a baseline idea of, I told Cryo that I wanted to play 2 characters at once, and it has evolved in a very strange way to where honestly it's kind of meshed into Cryo's theme, but also they are basically a hero's journey in reverse. They start with their like victory of kind of being good at what they do. They have the fall, and now they are trying to build that title of hero, all the while only risking their individual identities. So it's become very, very interesting. They when I introduced them, I did not think they would be as complex as they are.
I noticed with a lot of D&D characters especially, for me, I really struggle with making a person that feels like like you can think, okay, this is something they would do. So I always start with a single word theme and build around that. Otherwise, I realize I start losing track of what story I'm trying to tell with them. Because, like, ostensibly, yeah, you're just reacting to the roles. But when you're like, especially when it's a show and you're trying to think long term, or even like, because your friends are watching too, so you want to think long term of like, where is a cool place to start and where's a cool place to end. And for me, it's just like, well, I focus on a central theme, and then I'll figure it out when I get there. I will say the one thing you can never avoid with D&D is the found family theme. Just every D&D game has to do that.
You can avoid it if you all play characters who are related, because then the family isn't found. It's just your family.
Campaign 2, the Brady Bunch.
No.
No, it's gonna be more like Modern Family.
But yeah, I would say that like Cryo's probably the only one who very intentionally put like Cryo is, as the DM, has to think a lot more in literary themes, where in a lot of ways I would argue that we are much more reactive. Like depending on what Cryo does to us kind of defines how our characters progress and how they react to that information. So in a weird way, we're finding the themes within the characters as we go.
I get to make up the themes for you. You lose all control of your character. No, I'm sorry, that's really bad.
I mean, you could jump it off of that. Jet and Roshia asked something along the lines of like, for Kay, how long has it been? Have you been considering removing Dolus's remorse? And was there a single moment that solidified that decision? And how did the conversation go between you and Cryo for that?
There was not a conversation between me and Cryo before I did it. Like before I asked a Faye to do it. And in terms of how long had how long had I been planning that? I thought of it the day before that session. I was like, oh man, what are we doing in Starlost tomorrow? Oh, we're going back to Twinktania, and oh man, there's some cool stuff going on. Wouldn't this be cool? And then I just like, again, of which you know, I was so praised for like my story crafting and whatever, but it really is. I just think of something and I'm like, what? That would be so cool if I did this, and then I do it. Like it's just,
Okay.
The writers have.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna make the joke. The writers have outdone themselves this time.
Yeah. I think everybody kind of fails to realize how impulsive Starlost storytelling is. Like, Ray, I know that like you had no plans to get an intellect headband. You just so happened to luck into one.
Yeah. I mean, I knew Crow wanted one for Hush, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be so cool. Like, you'd be able to unlock all this information that Agrahil has told you. And then I think Crow asked, like, do you want one in session? I'm like, I mean, I can't say no if it's there. It'll be so funny. I mean, I could, but it was just so. It was so funny. And then we rolled for it, and I think I rolled like a 19 versus like Crow's like 17 or 18. And I'm like,
well, now I have.
Yeah.
oh, no, I have. It's just so funny. I love it so much.
And Cryo's such a good DM to where like he takes the fact that we come up with like these really impulsive major story beats, and he just goes, yeah. Yeah, fuck
I'm
it.
like, that's the thing now.
Yeah. I mean, for example, Dolus with his mask. That is a major thing to just go, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Hey, Cryo.
Well, it's funny because I was about to say, Kay afterwards, he messaged me, or I messaged him, and I was like, so what's this Fae deal gonna be? And he was like, oh, I think I'm just gonna ask the Fae for the sake of like the cliffhanger, and then next session we'll reveal that I didn't take the deal. And I was like, okay, but this is the deal they're gonna offer you. Will you take it?
Oh yeah, no, that was gonna be I forgot about that actually. I wasn't actually gonna take it initially. I just thought it was like a cool thing to consider that's what Dolus was like how far he was like willing to go. But then he went farther because they made a damn good deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
and like, yeah, just it's so impulsive, and Cryo just deals with it. Cryo killed Socks, and 4 days later we had homebrewed 2 new classes, technically 1, and then we knew that we would introduce the second one. 2 completely new characters, introduced a new mechanic, and that was in 4 days. Like, Cryo just runs with whatever the hell we bring at him, and sometimes I can see a part of him die when he does it.
It's okay. That part of me is weak. Deserves to die if it can't keep up.
I know a lot of reviewers listen to us on Spotify, but it's always fun watching. I just choose a person, and I always choose Cryo to watch during Starlost moments, because something insane will be said, and you can see Cryo buffer for a moment. It's like, what am I doing here?
It's Ian.
It's
Ian or Pulse.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's really funny because Ian said down in that corner, he was like, I just make stuff up on the spot, and Cryo lets it happen. And so, yeah, you'll see Ian say something like, oh, Twink built that, or Twink did this, Twink did that. And you can watch my face, like, literally just go like, and then I just type a message because I'm messaging Ian like, all right, this is how it's going to work.
We have submarines.
Yeah.
Okay.
He designed submarines. He hadn't built any. They were first built by other him properly.
You're telling me Twink didn't build submarines? Twink did.
But you're
Correct.
telling me that
Alright,
a
then.
shrimp fried this. I'm sorry.
No, a shrimp made the submarines.
Well, I mean, it just makes me think of those, I don't remember what they're called off the top of my head, but like those artists who creates these big, elaborate art pieces that like people can interact with, but other people make it. It makes me think of that. What's it called?
I don't know, but I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
I don't know what
Right,
it's
video
called.
chat for the Nintendo
Ai
DS.
Weiwei is one of those really big people who do that. Like, they are the ones who design it, and with the manual labor of other people, like they are the ones who are like their name is attached to it. So it just makes me think of that.
Coloring books. No,
I-
Gilmore.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you're
That's
talking
it.
about an architect. Like they design something
I
and
mean,
someone else
kinda.
makes it.
There's
I mean,
a
to be
very
fair-
specific. Hold on, I'll search.
Lotus did want. I remember when I asked Ray. Ray did say Lotus would be an architect. So, and that would make sense.
Architect's a good gig.
Yeah.
I consider
Always a
being
building falling down.
Ah,
I think perhaps this shanties will be a little bit longer
Yeah.
than
It's
other
been
ones
so
because
long.
it's been a long time, and also it's been 36 minutes and we answered 3 questions.
Yeah.
Oh, 4.
I'm not helping by only asking the long questions. Because for example, I could ask Noah, very important.
So-
Asked by Ace, who's Dickory?
Not real. Moving on.
Not yet.
Nah, yeah.
That's his campaign 2 character.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just like rapid fire the easy answers. Also,
Oh
by
my
Ace is
God.
Frogillion.
Yeah.
Wait. No, Noah, next campaign, play like Doc's kid or something and name him Richard Corey. So he can be Dick Corey. We can finally have
Does that mean I
Dickory.
get if it means I get Aldrich again then? Because I love that
it would
motherfucker.
mean you get all
Yeah. Also, just Oz, I'm gonna do this just to encourage more people to keep asking us questions in the Discord. Where does Eldritch Slash come from? I told Cryo that I think Eldritch Blast being the only way to do an Eldritch like a Warlock cantrip was stupid, and I wanted a melee one, so we made it. It was that simple. Like literally, I was just like, Doc's a melee character. Can I have a melee Eldritch Blast?
And now every single Warlock uses it because I made it a little too strong. And if I release it to the public, I will scale it back just a little bit.
It needs to be dialed back just an itty bit because we've realized that the way it interacts with certain things really fucks shit up.
Yeah, Noah realized that when I hit for like 120 with an Eldritch Slash in the
Yep.
last one.
And,
Yep.
and Cryo realized that in a recent Starlost episode that's not been aired yet.
It's true.
Ooh.
Wait, I
I
thought you
found the art thing.
Oh,
They're
boy.
called They're called art installations.
Art
Oh
installation.
my god,
There we
it's
go.
really that. I was
It
really
was that
expecting some
easy.
like complex like French term or something.
Like some word that I've never.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was a
It'd be
complex French term, it'd be more memorable.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like an art major thing. I'm just like, oh, it's art installation.
It is
The
definitely
Eldritch-
not 1d10 force damage. It's 1d8 times count.
Wait, don't say, don't explain it, so that when Cryo releases it, then we can just
They
say
can't
that
compare
whatever
it.
Yeah, yeah, it can be.
Our current version.
but
real
you
one.
said that it was this.
Yeah. Listen, I've said before, if you look in our Ko-fi, sometimes the monsters don't line up because
For good reason.
I watch the monsters and then look at how they're written and think, this is lethal.
Yeah.
It's really funny actually because I realized after I made Litho, the character who played in the most recent one shot, I could have attached like one more thing and I could have like doubled the damage I was dealing already with Eldritch Slash, and I was like, I need to scale this spell back.
Yep.
Now.
But Cryo's gonna keep letting me use the playtest version.
Yeah, we're
so far in at this
playtesting
point.
it. This is the
Yeah.
unearth.
Yeah,
You are the
Ian-
playtest.
Ian
Yeah,
makes a good point. The versions that you guys are seeing are playtest versions, and if we ever put the spells out or anything else, they'll be modified because we realize the flaws in them, like the Astral Shade who murdered the shit out of me, and even has gone through a modification in campaign.
Mm-hmm. Except the Zealot. The Zealot is exactly as lethal as it was written.
Which, yeah.
I was reading it. It's like, no, that'll stay. So we did talk about the fact that you guys just kind of do shit, and then Cryo has to figure it out. Star asks, I know D&D is all about improvising and thinking on your feet, but how do DMs handle their party being so chaotic and going in a completely opposite direction of where the plot is? I feel like every time I tell my party about an obvious clue or hint about something for plot reasons, they just dodge it entirely. I think all of you have DM'd something for Starlost.
From as the Starlost DM, I guess I'll start answering. It's If they're dodging the plot, like story-wise, like if you give them a big story element and they choose to ignore it, maybe they just don't care about like that story. Maybe on your end you need to alter how a story functions to make it like enjoyable for the group. Like if you make a whole like plot plan, you're like, this is the chunk of story that's gonna happen, and then your party is just like, no, we don't want to do that. They gave you your answer. The answer is they don't want to do that. If you mean like you're setting up puzzles and physical like directions for them to go and places for them to be, and they're choosing to go somewhere else despite all of the hints saying, hey, story is here, like neon sign. The ultimate secret of being a DM is the story is wherever you put it, so you can just move it. You can just... I didn't know if they were going to go back to Twinktania and Gillian was just going to attack them on the sea, and then they decided to go back to Twinktania, and so Gillian was waiting for them at Twinktania, and that's just how it is. I'm like, you can make story happen wherever. So if they decide that they want to go to the Troll Cave instead of the Wizard Tower, guess what? The Necromancer works out of the bottom of the Troll Cave now.
That was gonna be my thing, is my answer. That DMing, the ultimate secret to DMing and pulling behind the screen, is giving your players the illusion of choice. Of like, oh, you're gonna choose to go to the temple instead of the tavern where I put this NPC that is looking for you. Well, it turns out they also are religious, and so they're also at the temple, and now they're there. Or like, be like, oh, well, if I'm like, oh, there's something happening in this part of the city, and then the players are like, oh, we're gonna go to this place, actually. We're going to this person's house. And I'll be like, oh, it's funny you say that, because on the way to that person's house, this thing is happening in the street. And it's, if you want something to happen, just make it happen. And also, that's a thing, it's a slight tangent, but like not a whatever. If you want you to reveal something to your players, if you want them to have that information, don't make them roll for it. I have learned that lesson so many times, of where I'm like, oh, someone will inevitably try and do some kind of perception or investigation check in this room. And I'll be right, they will. But then they suck at it. They get like a 8 total plus modifiers. And I'm like, I can't say it now, because if an 8 succeeds, what was the point of the roll? Just don't make them roll for it. Just be like, oh, and also you see this.
You also end up in the situation where if they roll low and you just decide after the roll, okay, well, I need to give them this information anyways. The players know how rolls work, so it's like, oh, I'm getting this information off of an 8, which means it's probably wrong.
Or it's like, what did I miss? Like, this is only part of the information. What's the rest?
And then they get a 20 and it doesn't affect anything.
On the opposite end of what K is saying, if you don't want the players to know something or do something, don't let them roll for it. Just say they can't.
There is...
or like if they're... Sorry to cut, but it's just like... Or if they're like, oh, can I roll perception or investigation? Can I look for something here? You can either just say no, but if you want to be nice about it, you can be like, I'll just say there's nothing, like, even with an active perception check, that you can really pick up here, or like nothing. You're not missing anything.
There's also a great little element that I feel like Sins and Unseen have become a great example of. Sometimes as a DM, to put it in the most brutal sense, you just get bent. Like, there's like, for example, in Unseen, there was the whole barn sequence that was supposed to be this like really big fight to like teach them a lot of the lessons they needed in the final fight. That they just skipped. And so in sometimes, Cryo did this with Hickory and Doc's hand. Sometimes when your players aren't listening, all you really should do is manipulate what's happening. They didn't want to go in the barn because they knew there was going to be a fight there because they play D&D. So they tried to go under it, and the barn collapsed, and it became a dead sprint instead. And then
it became a jog because, I banished it.
Banishment.
Yeah. And then in order to deal with that, I was like, okay, webs are moving faster to at least get you up to to get, like, sometimes you have to just accept defeat on whatever your original intent was and use the elements that you set around to do that. And we're not talking about the graveyard puzzle, Ian. That's not what we're talking about.
Come on.
But yeah, sometimes also, hey, it's okay to make mistakes as a DM. I had the graveyard puzzle and it sucked and it was rough. And then in Unseen, there wasn't another graveyard puzzle. In fact, their very first puzzle was time limited. I started a timer and they just had to go.
I think it's really important as a DM to gauge what your players are into, and you could totally just have an above the table conversation of, yeah, okay, then what do you want to happen here? If you're just dodging the story, is it because you just want to do something else? Is this the least interesting thing you could be doing right now? And that can just be an above the table conversation instead of trying to play the games and figure it out real time. You can just end a session and say, okay, what do you guys want to have happen next?
Hey,
on the subject of sins, because Noah and I have talked about this since then, a good lesson that Noah learned in that moment was sometimes as a DM, you think something's going to work a certain way or go a certain way, and you really want it to go that way. And then partway through, you realize that the party's not having fun. And you should just give up. You should just give up on that idea if they're not enjoying it. You could rethink it or put it somewhere else or work around it. Like the graveyard fight, originally the way we planned it out, it was supposed to function differently, but some mistakes were made, so it ended up being longer and clunkier than it was supposed to be. And in the shorter original version of it, it was like, all right, you figure something out, and now you have to kill off all of the summoned things. But that was supposed to be when the fight took 30 less rounds than it did. I'm joking. I'm hyperbolizing. And so I remember I came back because I'd stepped away from the stream and the fight had been going for 3 hours and they finished the puzzle portion, but all the enemies were still alive. And I was like, oh my God, Noah will understand that he should ignore the kill the enemies thing and just have them all dissolve or something. And Noah, I watched him read the page and make a pained face and be like, you still have to kill all the zombies. And I was like, I DM'd him. I was like, no, they don't. No, they do not. Stop this now. Stop.
And that's I think that would be my, if I had to give one tip is don't be married to an idea. If you want, you can be like, oh, I want this thing to happen and I'm gonna just funnel every plot line forwards until the thing I want to happen happens. If you that's just write a book at that point. If you just want to tell a story where a specific thing you want to happen happens. But yeah, no, I just last thing for this before we move on to the next question. Just big agree with what Oz said. If you feel like you are giving your players a story and you're giving them a direction and they're not following that direction, ask your players what do they want to do, what kind of story do they want to tell. Because if you have players who want an adventure that is the story you're trying to tell, they'll seek it out even without big neon signs. They'll get there. But if they're not following the signs and not sticking to it, then there is some kind of miscommunication going on of what the expectations are for what's going on.
And just two quick things. One, when you're a DM, you can mess up. It's fine to mess up. The graveyard fight was a mess up, but then everybody remembers sins because the ending stuck. You can mess up in a session and still and still stick the landing. It's all about, like, because if I had messed up the graveyard fight and just given up, that's that. Like that, like, you know, it would have been kind of whatever, and nobody would remember Sins. They would remember it as the one with the bad graveyard fight, and then it sucked. But like, you just got to kind of grind your teeth a little bit and keep going. And the ending for Sins was made up on the fly. It was not written. I was stuck to my writing, and then I made up something at the very end. And then last but not least, hey, if you want a bunch of DM advice, we have like an entire panel that is on our YouTube channel right now that literally goes, hey, how to run a TTRPG, where we talk about a lot of this advice a little more in depth, and then hit some other topics as well, including like, hey, how to talk to your players when maybe shit isn't going right.
Yeah. And if you want to run Sins, but a version where we've learned some lessons afterwards, we also offer Sins at our Ko-fi.
We do. At the captain
There's
tier,
maps.
you can get the entire module modified and play tested.
Yeah.
I think the sentence "we offer Sins on our Ko-fi" is hilarious.
I know what I said.
It's the most appropriate one.
Yep.
We are 52 minutes in and we've answered 5 questions.
I love how you were like 2 more quick things and you added 3 more minutes to that answer.
Jed asks, what's everyone's favorite Elton John song? I don't know any. Someone else can tell me what mine is.
Tiny Dancer.
I'm still standing an Elton John
I'm
song?
Still Standing is Elton John.
I had to remember. Yeah.
Wait, from the movie Sing?
I mean, I really do like that version, actually.
Wait, I thought that was where it came from.
No.
I thought it was the Gorillaz.
No, because when Taron Egerton plays Elton John, he also sings the song in that.
Yeah, I'm Still Standing is Elton John. It's like in 1983 or something. It's a good song.
I like
but yeah,
Rocket
Tiny
Man.
Dancer.
Rocket Man for me.
Rocket Man. Ray, it's okay to say you don't listen to Elton John.
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you
that's
prefer
fine.
Elton or John?
John.
You've got too many Johns already.
I always make the
John,
joke
okay.
that Elton John is what Crow's name is short for, LJ.
Oh my god! I've never
Elton
thought.
John. And it's
And
so
then Crow
funny.
pops up.
I'm
Yeah,
still
it's so
standing
funny.
sweeps, Crow.
It's so funny because it doesn't work. That's not how it starts with the sound L, but Elton does not start with the letter L. It's just I love that bit. Congrats to me for explaining the joke, but like I appreciate that. I was really proud of that one.
I mean, and I learned who Elton John was when I was making this question sheet. So, Ace asks, will we ever get to Dragon Lost?
Yes.
Every time someone asks, I add another session before we get to Dragon Lost. So
I'm aware. That's why I asked. I did that on purpose.
The birds will make sure that we eventually get to Dragon Lost.
I mean, I feel like, one of those characters where like you can't progress their story
until you
to
get
a
to a
specific
place.
place. So you
Yeah.
just have like Lotus's story quest, just
Paused.
your quest
Yeah.
inventory. Yeah,
It's
You know,
like
Breath
it's like
of the
Lotus
Wild-
Doles' story quest. Go to Dragon Lost to find Raiden, and they got that objective in like session 30, and we're still
The,
here.
the funniest bit is that Kieran was the first one to get to Dragon Lost, and he's not even with them.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should have gone off that fucking ship in episode 8, man.
Now you're saving the world, dickhead.
Oh man.
Hey man,
Kieran is
all the
eating
build up
coconuts.
will make it so awesome when it happens.
When are you guys going to Dragon Lost? Eventually.
Yeah.
So, 3 episodes later than whenever it was asked the first time.
Yep.
Just for Cryo, a small thing. Jed asks, who made the official announcement that the Unreliables Law had passed?
Well, I mean, there's not like a Twitter or public announcement like forum that this can go out on. It went out on posters across the empire.
Who
There's no State of the
everyone?
Union.
who did the at everyone. If you want someone specific, I guess the first person who would tell the public would be Astora. She's the Holdmaster we haven't met yet in the story. Alora is the one who always stays in Altairi, and she sits in on council meetings. So she would be the first person to publicly say it to somebody, and it would be to her like guardsmen. Like she would tell them that a new law was being passed. So I guess she's the first.
I will say the Holdmasters, like the list of Holdmasters, was a funny situation for us because it was one of those moments where we like injected information into the community that no one realized they like existed, because we went onto our own wiki that our community had made and put the full list of Holdmasters, which was never said in the show. So everyone was looking. I was like, I guess it was said at some point. It's like, no, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
That was
technically it was. Technically, it was all said in the first solstice. Every Holdmaster was named. They just it was just really brief.
But we also we put in the wiki what they were the Holdmaster of.
That is true. That one is true.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we have a wiki, guys. If you like really need to get caught up on lore, I'm not sure how often it's updated, but
it's insane that summary page is just insane to me. It is just a well and true summary of what happened, to the point where I didn't even know most of those things happened.
Yeah, so if you really want to get caught up on Starlost, you can just read a blurb and then pick up.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not fully up to date, it's still like 90 episodes in, so you can go all the way down.
Somebody drop the link to the wiki.
I wrote the Kieran page. If that's not obvious to anybody who has to read the Kieran page.
Oh my gosh.
I have not read the Dolus page on the wiki. I refuse to. I'm just, I will let that be whatever it is.
That explains why it says he's stinky.
He's stinky. Yeah. I mean, it's true.
It was very cool because I think our community did that all while we were in Atlanta for MomoCon and didn't tell any of us. So we're just like, what?
Yeah.
Ace asks, is Frogillion alive?
Is
I think he appears in the most recent episode. I think he shows up. He's just a frog. I don't mention him all the time because he's just a fucking frog in Alina's bag now. Like I don't give him a lot of extra screen time when all he does is sit there and go.
Yeah, if your question is the frog alive? Yes.
I will tell. I will make a dramatic moment if the frog dies. I will make it like a thing.
To be fair, that question was from June, so
y'all need to feed that frog. He gets fed. He's Alina's pet now. He's just there.
If Frogillion ever dies, the episode that it happens in will be titled "The Frog Dies in This One." For all of you who ask, so stop asking about Frogillion. He's just there.
The more you ask, the less time he has to live.
He gets old. He gets more time every time someone asks. He becomes immortal. He becomes more powerful.
The one where the frog died.
The
gang kills the frog.
The one where the frog.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a Friends episode. The one where the frog dies.
I just love that he's been Captain Ginyu'd, but no, he's just a frog now. He's not even still Captain Ginyu.
Yeah, his soul just dissolved. He's just a frog now. He's just a pet. He's just a.
Which feeds into the theme of
the
what
frog croaked. Thank you, Crow. That was so better. That's so much better than what I said.
All right, come on, let's get another question.
Jet asks, how has going into the modern dream changed the way your characters look at themselves and/or their relationship with the people they talk to in that dream?
Don't fucking matter for me, bitches.
Me.
I haven't thought about this.
I guess it's just you two.
How did it change?
You guys essentially got teleported, like, to make it equivalent for you guys, you got teleported to the year, like, 2530 and just lived out a day in your life if you were alive then, and then got thrown back into 2023.
I will say it did, like, behind the scenes. This is stuff that's probably going to end up in a Kieran Diaries, but it did change the trajectory of what, because for Kieran, he has no plans past Dragonlost because he's not that smart. But it actually did give him a thing to do, because that, I think there was like a brief moment of that, of like Kieran didn't know what happened to his home. Kieran learned, speaking to Martin, what happened to his home.
And by the way, my hand that was elevators, like an elevator.
Yeah, was Kieran's plan for the future.
it's-
Elevators.
Oz,
it'd
we
be
have terrible
tragic.
news.
Yeah, I learned instantly. It was like when like a family member dies and you get a bunch of messages. Something happened, and I got 6 DMs from our Discord. It's like, what happened? And it's like, Oz, we've got some terrible news for Kieran.
Elevators are already being invented.
Yeah.
I mean, to answer the question, like how it's affected, like, sorry, what was the question again? How it's affected my interactions with
How your characters look at themselves and their their relationship with the people they spoke to in that dream.
hasn't really changed. I think probably because Dolus is in denial a lot. It's like he's just like he's to him. It's like he just sees it. Well, it was a dream, but he's like, this is just a dream. Like I'm just living out someone else's dream. Like as opposed to seeing it as like I'm living in the future. You know, it's like yeah, this guy made this up. Like he made up a fantasy realm where a fantasy realm where these things can happen, and this is what society is like. And it's like, well, that's not the world I live in, so like I don't care. like, that's yeah. It's it affected how I perceive Martin and that and him and his like story, but in terms of like how I see myself, how Dolus sees himself, and like interacts with the people he interacted with in that dream, like it isn't really just like okay.
I think Lotus is a very similar way of like, this is a dream, and so Martin can do anything in it, and yada yada. I think the only thing, because like as well, if you think about it, Raiden wasn't even there. Raiden was a text message or a call, and it's like, I mean, I guess that's better than him being completely MIA, but that's basically just being MIA.
Do you want to know the full answer for why Raiden was there? Because there's a genuine answer that I can give you.
Sure.
I did not want you guys to see how Raiden was built for combat. Because if he was there, he'd have been in the dream combat, and I didn't want that to be revealed.
All right, that's very fair. I think the only thing that Lotus has shifted a little bit is her perception towards her own art, because in the dream it was significantly better because she had more technology given to her for her to learn, and also she was a little bit older in the dream, I believe. And so it's like when you see old art and it's like way better than what you thought it was, and it's like, damn, I did that. And it's like, I think now Lotus is like, I want to get to that level. I don't know how, except putting in more time. But that's also kind of hard because they're kind of saving the fucking world. So, yeah.
I will say a really funny moment from that dream that I think we made the joke before it started of, wait, why did Kira not know who Martin was? It's like as if everyone was like, hey, do you know Joe? And you're like, Kira, no, who's Joe? You don't know Joe Biden? It's like, no, you just know Joe.
Yeah. You don't know Joe.
That's really what it was. What do you think about it? It's just
Joe Biden.
Because we were 3 episodes into the dream when Kieran was like, wait, hold, Master Martin.
Harry?
You guys didn't say
Harry
hold
the
Master Martin. You
platypus.
said Martin.
Barry the platypus.
I played a dead guy.
Hit us with another question.
This one might take some thinking about. Queen Cat asks, if you could have any spell IRL, what would you choose? Just
Presto.
you, the people.
Time stop.
Oh, Presto or locate object.
Oh, that's
Locate object.
There's been so many times where I would be looking for something. I would just think to myself, it would be so great if I had locate object right now.
Buy an air tag.
Buy an air
I can't
tag.
put an air tag for everything that I own.
Air
You
tag
can,
is
actually.
IRL
It's-
locate
they-
object.
They're making it surprisingly easy to put air tags in everything you own.
Holy
I have
shit!
an
Dropping
air
your
tag
pin
in
is IRL
everything.
locate creature.
Oh. I
I got my pants. I
I
forgot
think I
where
would
they were.
take tongues. I think just the ability to be able to communicate with literally anybody would be really banger. So I think I would take tongues.
I really want fly. I know it's only 10 minutes, and 10 minutes of flight is not useful, but I would just like, as someone afraid of heights, I would still like to fly.
Oh, Dimension Door would be cool as hell. Like just any of the teleportation spells.
Yeah. Go one step higher. Aim for the stars, Noah. Go just for teleport.
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
think
Thunder
teleportation
Step would
circle.
be pretty cool.
Hear me out. Planar
You're-
shift. Let's see if those bitches are real.
I mean, I think probably prestidigitation is just like the bad. Like that is just like the answer of
Yeah.
most useful spell.
Yeah.
Like it can do so much, and like especially for our day-to-day lives. I mean, wish, I guess.
Yeah.
Just make
Yeah,
wishes.
but here's the thing:
Myself,
using
don't have to shave.
using wish physically fucking lays you out for
And you
like.
might
Hey,
not
man,
be able to
I'm
do it
already
ever
physically
again.
laid out. Anyways, I go and I donate plasma and I get money and I'm laid out for the rest of the day. What if I could do that, but I get $25,000?
But the odds are that you'll never be able to do it again.
Don't you only
Well,
get the
that's-
wish setbacks if you wish for something that isn't already a spell?
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well,
wish
true.
could do anything.
So you could have Presto and locate object and teleport and stuff. And
Yeah.
like,
All right, the answer's wish.
Yeah.
Man has
Yeah.
wish, but only wishes for 25,000. I'm talking about like though, because isn't there like a thing on the wish
It
list
is,
of
yeah.
like 25,000 gold worth of whatever? So that's what I mean. So that I don't get like the bad benefits. Bad benefits.
25,000
Once a day,
gold
he
is
just
definitely
gets
way more than
$25,000.
But
But
that's like the most useful answer. My personal answer is meteor swarm. I just want to raise a city. Just, I just
But
think it'd be-
I do
The
like
the
image
sentiments
of Kay
expressed by
with-
Kay do not reflect that of Starlost as a
no,
whole.
they reflect me. He's right.
Warning. I do like the idea of Kay with Shenron though, of like, what is your wish? Can I get a footlong hoagie, turkey, lettuce?
I would like to create food and water.
No, just the one sandwich.
Just the one sandwich.
They forgot the fucking cheese. God damn it.
Moving on.
Okay, if you were, Rishi asks, if you were suddenly isekai'd into Starlost, they ask like, as one of the named or background NPCs, who would you hope to wake up as? I'm gonna open it up. Where would you want to be in the world of Starlost, and what would you want to be doing?
Okay, hold on. Everybody back the fuck up because I have the best answer.
Okay.
Background or named NPCs that I could be, why wouldn't I want to be the best NPC? Kaeda, the #1 background NPC,
Yeah.
the most powerful mage on our boat.
She's a rogue. She's a rogue.
Oh, okay. Maybe she's an arcane trickster. I don't know.
Nope.
He is an arcade trickster.
What?
Oh, let's go. And if where I would be, I don't know, somewhere that I wouldn't be discriminated against, I guess.
Ooh.
You've got some real low choices.
Put me in Ice Home. Just fucking put me in Ice Home. That
Put
place
you
seems
in a
lit as
hole in the
hell.
ground.
Yeah,
Ice
but
Home.
dude, we got robots and shit.
They got robots in the Empire too.
Those are mechs.
As a
Thanks,
random
Gundam fan.
Oh, you go.
No, that I was just making a joke. You can go.
Oh, as a random background NPC, I think I would probably want to. Here's the thing, like I know the Empire's got its problems, but it's also like the nicest country to live in because it is the biggest and strongest. So on one hand, I'm like, damn. It's like the concept of living in America. It's like, damn, this place sucks, but also it's got a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
No, I think I would actually live in Uboy. I think I'd want to live in Fort Don. I'd be like a guard in Fort Don who just was there. It'd be a solid gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want the easy answer of if you own the map, there's a town on the top left of the Talon Isles that I would like to live in. But I understand I like cities, so I'm definitely going Altairi, just because it would be where I would live by choice anyhow, because it's a big city. And, you know, you don't have to worry about wolves attacking you in the streets or something.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would want to be an NPC in Yuba too. It's like,
Let's go. High five. We can be roomies in Fort Don.
I already kind of live in Yuba. And also, but if it's like a named NPC, I don't know why. My first thought was Eggold, and then my second thought was the baby in Rose Drenas's stomach.
You want to be?
What?
You'd want to be the
I
child
want to
of
be
Arthur
the
and Rose
fetus.
Greenus.
I want to be that fetus. It's also not a named NPC. It's just-
Also, I mean, it has. They have a name. No one's asked those. They haven't shared.
Also,
love-
I'm criticizing you do not want to be Eggold. Like, if you
No,
think about it
absolutely
for
not. I don't wanna be
5
Eggold.
seconds,
I
you don't want to
know.
be Eggold.
I
Eggold
know.
has the worst life of anybody in Star
Both
Wars.
Lorelai, the one person whose life is
Funny.
more pathetic than mine right now.
It's just so funny. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you know what island I've heard good things about? That island is Sanctity. That's probably a great place to live.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
nice street.
The island itself.
nice tree.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just imagine you like petting it. Nice tree.
she just wants everybody to be happy.
That is a lie. That is a
Iceholm
lie.
gang.
You fish and you fish for like, you get 12 of them for like in like 20 minutes.
Iceholm's the only country that we haven't heard any fucking problems about yet.
It's
Iceholm
a
a
hole in
country?
the ground.
Is it a country? I don't. Cryo, is Iceholm classified as a country?
Iceholm would be classified as a city-state because it is both a country and a city. So
Do the people in Iceholm, because they're a hole in the ground, do they not get enough vitamin D?
This has become our Q&A.
no, because of magic. So Iceholm is like a totally sustainable little. It's like, you ever see those terrariums that like somebody made it 20 years ago, but it works
yeah.
perfectly fine and is like isolated from the world? That's Iceholm. It is a tube in the ground that has everything it needs. However, as Noah has made clear through roleplay several times, what they eat there primarily consists of algae bars and like oat grain. So like,
God.
like the twins did not experience food as you guys know it until they left.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, if you lived in Iceholm your whole life, you would never care because that's all that you had to eat, and it's pretty good. But
They live like the people on the ships of Wall-E.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
except
No,
not fat.
they're very. I was like, they're very active actually. Like everybody kind of serves a function.
But like conceptually, yeah, they're just
Yeah.
not. You know, they're just not lazy because they're all working.
I think Marcy wins though. Marcy said she wanted to be the Gunch.
The Gunch.
Yeah.
I just want to be whatever
He's
race
the-
Milnes was.
Milnas is Yavalis. He says it himself.
little guy.
Just want to be a little Yavalis.
Yeah.
Love Milnas. All right.
Gil asks a very Gil question. Could Socks eat chocolate when he was alive?
Yes, he was a person.
If he was in werewolf form, could he have eaten chocolate?
Yes, he was a person.
fair.
Um,
He's just a guy that looks like a wolf.
Yeah.
He's just
He was
wolf-like.
cursed. He is not a dog.
But he has that dog in him.
He does have that dog in him.
Dog in him. And that dog goes honk shoo 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 shoo.
and that,
No,
and
he's a honk me me me.
that dog goes. Is dead.
Yeah, the
What
dog got
dog?
put down. Unfortunately, they have
go?
euthanized that dog in me.
No! No!
He had that dog in him. Thank you, Ian.
God.
Yeah. Who let the
Socks was
dogs
not a
out?
dog.
Oh no.
Oz, please ask another question. Please move away from the euthanasia joke.
3 Plea ATV. Man, these names. When was the time period where lycanthropy started showing up? Were they always just kind of around, or was there suddenly a boom of them? Does Starlost have a known cause for it?
The answer is yes. Starlost has a known cause for it in the sense that they know it was a curse. They don't know who originally did the curse. Arlashina kind of briefly went over it, I think, way back when she revealed that Socks was Trueborn. Yeah, so several thousand years ago, probably around, I think the answer Arlashina gave, so I'm willing to share it, was about 10,000 years ago. Somebody did something that pissed off a god who cursed them to turn into a werewolf. And if they bite other people, the curse spreads. But also their offspring just are trueborn, and it becomes an issue they have to deal with. So it is both a curse and an affliction.
Socks is a purebred, is what I'm hearing.
You know that to be true.
Yep.
Is there like
But
a
yeah.
Windsor dog show, but for werewolves?
Yeah,
No.
Socks would win the Windsor Werewolf show.
I will say they were hunted, like we've said before prior, like a bunch of like classic monsters in D&D and in like fiction and stuff. In the world of Starlost, they have been hunted to like near extinction, and they are only now coming back because of the planar fuckery. So like vampires, they were around technically still, but like they were in like the double digits, maybe triple digits. Like they were not present. And then the Shadowfell broke a bit, and now there are a bunch of vampires back in the world, and probably also more werewolves again. So
And maybe running a vineyard.
maybe.
I will say they're not adequately concerned about the fact that there is just a Ravenloft in your home. And now there are vampires all over the place. That's
A
not gonna...
Ravenloft in your home.
A Ravenloft in my home? It's more likely than
It feels like a Cold War pamphlet you'd get. Do you have a Ravenloft in your home?
Yeah,
Get
the
tested
world
today.
of Starlost itself was really sort of at peace as far as monsters go. Like it was like, yeah, like we have to deal with some creatures and monsters. Like they still crop up, but I mean, Martin was kind of telling the truth when he said that for like thousands of years he has been keeping like humanity in the sense of people like safe. Like he has been making powerful countries that keep people safe.
We briefly spoke, unless there's someone else for this question, we briefly spoke about this in our Discord. What video games would everyone's characters play mainly? I'll start. Kieran, very much Animal Crossing or Stardew was my immediate answer, because I feel like Animal Crossing is just how Kieran has like waddled his way through the world so far. I'm just like, oh, a bug, oh, fish.
For Lotus, it's just a fighting game. But I think as time progresses, it's not primarily a fighting game, but then it's more like an RPG, but then the battle combat system is the fighting game.
So I love that you did. What game would your characters play? And you've just made up this amorphous.
Yeah.
Like,
Lotus is
that's
going
not
to
an
the
answer
video
to this
game.
question.
Imagine if you're playing Dragon Quest, and in the middle of every Dragon Quest, you have to play one round of Street Fighter 9.
Yeah.
We're opening a Kickstarter for that suggestion. Our goal is 14 million.
Oh my god.
$14 million.
I've said it before. Alina, no life's MMOs. Alina would be the person who's maxed every job in Final Fantasy 14, including the crafters.
Dolus is not good at video games. That's just what I've decided. He would get into MMOs just because Alina would get him into MMOs. Like, he's definitely not like max out every class.
Oh my god,
He's
are you Alina's pocket healer?
No, he's a Reaper main. But
Go figure.
Hey, I'm a Reaper main.
Yeah, he just. Wait, what? You were a Reaper main?
I was a Reaper one trick. It was the only character I ever played. I put 100 hours into Reaper and none into any other character.
You play Final Fantasy 14?
Oh, we're talking about I was playing Overwatch.
Oh, you're talking about Overwatch Reaper. No, I'm talking about Reaper the class in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, I was.
Anyways, oh man, I was so. Oh my god. Anyways, that's my main. Anyways, Dolus plays. He's like. He does none of like the extra like raid content or anything. He just plays the story, and just Alina will be like, "Oh, log on for this," and he'll be like, "Okay." Dolus is really bad at video games, but games that he would play in his spare time, he's really bad at it, but he plays it a lot. So it's like the one game he's good at is Bloodborne.
Oh my god, he would.
I love the image in my head of like someone asking Dolus, "Oh yeah, you got games on your phone?" He's like, "Yeah." He turns around, he's playing Sudoku because it's the only game on his phone.
Yeah, like he does the New York Times mini crossword.
Yeah,
we have actively talked about the fact that if the characters were in the modern day, Doc would be a streamer. So I feel like he's kind of all over the place, but generally I would say he probably gravitates toward like Devil May Cry and God of War, like those action fighters.
The beat 'em ups.
Yeah, the beat 'em ups. Hickory, on the other hand, I think would probably go more Animal Crossing and like the Sim type beat. Not the Sims specifically, but just like simulators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Gil brought up a good thing. I want to expand on it. If the characters were all in a Minecraft server, what would they be appointed as?
Oh.
Ooh.
Fishing. Just fishing.
Twink would want to just fish, and he would end up going around like fixing everyone's builds, so he would never get time to fish. Yeah. Like people would be like, "Look at this thing I made," and he'd be like, "You fucking idiot, give me a second." And he would go to repair it, and then he would just never get to fish.
Lotus would be the one who makes the houses, but would also put a shit ton of flowers everywhere. And she would be like, "If you guys find flowers, like, please give them to me because I love them. They're so pretty."
Hickory would be giving her flowers.
Dolus is that one annoying motherfucker who like immediately goes into the caves like as soon as the world starts, and like he's like, everyone's like, "Oh, do you think maybe we should start building a house soon?" You see like the achievement, Dolus like gets diamonds or whatever. It's just
I feel like that would be Doc and Dolus, because like Doc would be the same, very just like run straight into the cave type deal. Hickory would find some way to automate farming, but get like, so it's just like this massive like robotic plantation.
Oh my god.
Alina would advance the plot. Like, you guys, in the same way that Kay has like found diamonds, you'd get the end portal notification. Like Alina's out there like hunting down the story of Minecraft.
I realized the real answer for Curate is if you ever play a Minecraft server with friends and then suddenly 30 minutes into the server starting, somehow one player is 4,000 blocks out. That's what Curate is.
Yeah, that's me when I play Minecraft.
That's also me when I play.
When are we playing Minecraft, guys?
I have been waiting to ask that question the entire time.
I was just gonna say, I thought of one thing, and I didn't want to let the video game question leave without saying it. Specifically with Dolus and Bloodborne, he has like 1,000 hours on that game. He's like, they're like, Dolus, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm playing Bloodborne. I just started my 30th playthrough. Or something
is he the one that like hashtags that Bloodborne's finally getting a remaster? Like, is he really attached to that?
Yeah,
and every time there's like a big gaming moment, like it's like everyone's like,
Bloodborne remaster incoming.
Yeah, everyone's like, don't talk to Dolus today, and they're like, why? And it's like, because Bloodborne remaster is not going to come out, and he comes out of his room really depressed.
Oh, no. It'll happen one day.
How do we get us to do a Minecraft server? I was like, I don't know. This isn't content, but it should be content somehow.
Oh my god!
If you guys can do ARC streams, we can do a Minecraft stream.
I refuse to do fucking Starlost Let's Plays. This is not happening.
Yeah.
We already did ARC.
ARC was fun.
And by we, I mean the two of them.
Yeah, and it was fun.
2 people played ARC one time on this channel.
Like, I was there.
Yeah. But that was fine, and I'm like totally cool with that. But I tell you right now, if we started a Minecraft thing, it would be like one thing, and then we would never stream it again because we would just be playing in our own time.
I lose myself to Minecraft for like 70 something.
That's what I'm saying.
2 hours.
Like, we would start the server and it would be this cool thing, and then we would never stream it again because everybody's just playing on their own time, no lifing it, and then in 3 months when we're done with the server, we'll kill it and it's gone.
This is something that I think I think most of you know, except Oz probably. Minecraft makes me sad because I just want to play like creative and like build fun, cool, big things. And every time I play in a group, without fail, everybody's like, no, we can't play in creative. Like, we'll just do, like, Noah does it all the time. He's like, we'll do mods and you can fly around and it's basically creative. And then I have to hunt for stuff. And then after like 2 hours, I'm like, I don't want to fucking play Minecraft anymore. And then I never touch it again. And then
just want to play Legos.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cryo does not want to mine or craft.
No, I want to craft. I don't want to mine.
You want to build. You don't want to craft.
Bro wants to play craft.
Yeah.
I mean, Noah has experienced this because we did play on a Minecraft server for a little bit. It was Crow and Jess and other people, and I think within the first week I had put in like 150 hours, and in the time it'd take Noah to play 8 hours, I had 150.
Yeah, so there's this lovely little like tweak that I've realized over time is like, if I usually am the one hosting the Minecraft server, which means I'm putting money forward, and I have the least amount of hours because turns out having a full-time job and then trying to handle like logistics of Starlost means I just don't play video games anymore. And if I do, it's like I'm begging Cryo on a Saturday to play. Like, I'm like, hey Cryo, I have 2 hours. Do you want to play like Lethal Company or Phasmo?
I try not to play Minecraft because the last time I played Minecraft on like a server where I was like, I'm gonna get into this, I stayed up until 5 a.m. And I got on at like 9 p.m. and I was just the only person on the server, and I was just sitting there in the dark, fully like slouched in my chair, strip mining for the past 6 hours, while on my other monitor, just like watching episodes of the Chris Chan documentary. Like,
episode 70.
Yeah, I just like sat up like after I was done. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I will not be starting up a new Minecraft server because here's the thing. Despite the fact that I have no time, Minecraft, once you get that little bug in me, I will destroy my fucking sleep schedule to do it. I don't have time, and I will make time, and it will not be healthy time.
Hey, you know, I hosted the last server. I could host it next time.
Guys, let's start talking about Starlost again.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm like,
we should start. We've been talking about Minecraft for the past 10 minutes.
V asks, this may have been asked before, but was Health Coming With Me some level of inspiration for the Zealot in the beginning of Sins?
It was the entire reason that Sins exists. Like, it literally, I heard the song.
Noah literally messaged me with a TikTok with that song in it and was like, this gave me a great idea for a one-shot, and that is how it started.
Yep, it was the catalyst, and we basically just ripped the like ending of that song as the beginning of Hell's Coming With Me, and then as the beginning of Sins, and we just gunned it from there.
I'm a massive fan of Poor Man's Poison, so I like Noah had given me like the 3 sentence, like months before Sins, he gave me the 3 sentence premise of what he was going with. It's like, that reminds me of a Poor Man's Poison, and I was like, funny you say that. Fun fact, Kieran's character song is Providence by Poor Man's Poison.
Huh.
Let's see, what other questions we got? It's one of those situations where we have so many questions that you're like suffering from success almost.
Yeah, we gotta put less gap between shanties again, because as Starlost grows, we get more questions in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah, I think we got 76 questions for the shanties. And it's not even like it's because there's a massive gap. Even if you were to scale it linearly, we got a lot of questions for this one.
Yeah.
Lily asks, Cryo, what is your process for deciding how one-shots are going to fit into the main campaign?
I make it up as I go along.
And what happens when we make one?
I campaign the Solstice one. I decided to throw the Holdmasters in. Like, I knew they were always going to be robbing Martin, but I decided to make it like important, like 2 weeks before we did Solstice. And then there's always just kind of been like a small B plot that's been threading through the one shots I've listed, except for So Below. So Below was like the first one that was not involved in that like slight B plot in the background.
Cryo was actually oh, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say that I knew I couldn't be in So Below, so you almost immediately DM'd me, and you were like, can I tell you about So Below? And I was like, how does it interact with the plot? And you go, that's the best part. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It's the only one shot that does not interact directly with the plot of campaign 1. So it's
so what you're saying is it interacts with the campaign 2.
I didn't say that out loud.
The consequence of So Below is now the character I have set free into the Underdark of just like, well, if you ever go back to the Underdark, know he's down there. He's not going to be a problem, but know what's down there. He's just there.
But yeah. So I really just at some point, like I make the one shot first, and then I'm like, how could I make this fit into the plot? Like that'd be fun. Like Croitus, I was like, oh, the disc does X, Y, and Z. There we go. I'll be honest, when the disc shows up in the first one shot, it's just a MacGuffin. I hadn't decided what it was going to do yet.
That makes sense. And now it's come up like multiple times.
Yep. Now it's important.
Now it's the disc.
Yeah. I keep saying it's like that the monster controller from Scooby-Doo 2. Like, that's always what I imagine it like.
I think I've corrected you before. It's more like the Transmooker from Spy Kids.
You did say that, but like I will always imagine it as that fucking little monster disc.
If anyone's playing bingo right now, you can check off Spy Kids 2 mentioned.
Why do we talk about Spy Kids 2 so often? That's actually really nuts.
We talk about Spy Kids as a franchise a lot.
Spy Kids wiggles its way into every Starlost episode.
But you know what we'll never talk about? Any of the Spy Kids that came out after 3.
They're not real.
There were others.
There unfortunately are others.
Moving on.
Moving on. Spy Kids 4.
Let's not talk about Spy Kids for the next 10 minutes.
John asks, what breed of dog was Socks?
The person.
There we go. Solved pretty easily.
The brown.
Who asked this? Ruin. Is Spelljammer a thing in Starlost? Is it going to be a thing? How does that work?
If Spelljammers are a thing, they've been crafted on some far-off planet that is not on the world of Starlost. So whether they're a thing in the universe or not, I won't confirm or deny, but whether or not they're a thing that we'll ever encounter, definitely not in the near future.
Based on what Cryo's kind of said and like how Martin's like ultimatum sets up, it feels like if Spelljammers exist, the world will be annihilated. Like, I feel like Spelljammers are a little bit too far in that, like, if you advance, we will destroy you kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jed asked the question that I'll open it up a bit more. What's been your favorite villain or antagonist?
Oh God. Can we not? Can we just like chop Martin off of that? Because I feel like having the big old guy who's really been behind everything.
Yeah, Jet specifically mentions now that Martin has been introduced, how does he stand next to Gillian for a favorite villain?
Then again, I guess we haven't had many villains.
To be fair,
Yeah,
Gillian's killed
antagonist.
party members. Martin hasn't.
No.
True. That's why I was like, antagonist, general annoyance.
I think I like Gillian and Martin for different reasons. I feel bad for Gillian. I understand Martin.
Yeah.
So it's like a different kind of like, but I really liked The Lost. Just them shunting us into the visions and like parts of our past that we wanted to do something different and forcing us to do something different. I thought that was a really neat premise.
I actually really liked Starlost Twink. I think he was a very interesting mutation on Twink's personality. To where it in simplest, Twink is like one step off from becoming a zealot.
My answer is the tree from Sanctity. I think that's just such an interesting premise of
Why did I
like,
not consider one shots?
Yeah, I realized this came up really early. I'm just like, yeah, one shots are always an option for these. The tree from Sanctity is such an interesting character to deal with of what is going on there and how much you trust it, just what is it? And then having to interact there, because there was a long moment at the end of Sanctity where basically every character had their moment speaking to the tree, and they all came to different conclusion of, this is a weird ass tree. What do we do about it? And is it actually good? What's happening? Is it just parasitic?
I very quickly came to the decision, fuck that tree.
Fuck that tree.
Wait, sorry, I stepped away. The question is just favorite villains?
Yeah, or antagonists in general.
I liked the villain from Seeds of Dawn, Ikora Tai.
Honestly though, Ares, I love Ares in the sheer fact of like, it was this pivotal moment that changed all of our perspectives on what the fuck was happening. Like that very quickly became like, it changed like how we view Martin, how we view the disc, how we view like Ares as a whole. He wasn't villainous for very long. Like literally it was the epilogue of Seeds of Dawn pretty much. But what he stood for was really crazy. And then if you add in the context of this eventually becomes what is currently our big bad, that's pretty ballin'.
Like, I said it jokingly, but I also like am like I conceptually of Ikora Tithe and just her as a character and the way that I played that out of just having just like the deception and like the way that she manipulates people and the way that she appeals to like what they love and like their biggest like insecurities, but also their biggest like weaknesses, like the things that appeal to them is just I love that kind of character, and I can say it as much as I want, and some people won't believe me. That it's not biased. I'm not saying that like because I feel like I'm just sucking my own dick the whole time. I'm like, I like my characters, I like my stories, but I'm just like, I don't know, man. I thought it was cool.
I liked Igor. I loved that you joined me at the end. I really was wondering if anybody would.
Yeah.
I like not joining you. The way especially like functioning in that dichotomy with like Kay joining you and me not. They had a very good dynamic to where they are both very, very like headstrong characters. And so to see that come to like an absolute conclusion was cool.
I have a question, Cryo.
Yeah.
The antagonists in So Below, did you have things for them that were thrown out the window?
I had several things for them that were thrown out the window because you guys avoided them really thoroughly. I honestly, I planned to go a little bit further into the demon lord who had like destroyed the city. But you guys, because you dodged a bunch of traps in combat and like you just kind of missed out on like some lore stuff that I had sort of cooked up for. Oh gosh, which demon lord was it? Was it Buraniel or was it Hazuza? I think it was Hazuza.
It was Hazuza.
Yeah.
Well, now you guys know about Buraniel.
We played that cat and mouse game a bit too well. So we came in, we were laying traps for them.
Yeah. Tom and Jerry.
And I mean, it's one of those things that it's not the end of the world because it was just like background world building that kind of didn't end up coming to fruition. That will eventually just get revealed in other ways or will just not get revealed. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it's another great example of if you're a DM and you want your party to know things, just find a way to tell them.
Even Cryo learns lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the dude who was in charge of like the group that was assaulting you all was also going to have like a little bit more story involved, but he just got murdered.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
He got eviscerated.
He got destroyed. He got dissolved, literally. Like, they all just got destroyed.
Oh, I have a different answer, actually, but I can't say it because it's a spoiler for...
Oh, because we have recorded some of Scattered.
Yeah.
DM me, I want to know.
Cryo, I will say I do love my Scattered villain. Because I love him just because he's not right. Like, there's not... it's good, but of course we can't talk about it.
I understand.
Yeah, I really like the antagonist for my Scattered.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It is Santa Claus.
Everybody giggles, but then it comes out and it's actually Saint Nick.
I absolutely believe that's going to be the case.
I would believe it. 100%.
I found out from a lot of the people who watched the first Solstices completely missed that Boris's patron is Santa Claus.
I forgot about
Because
that.
he mentions Nicholas like just offhandedly. Yeah, it is. He is.
I think I look at you a little funny when it happens, but
I don't think any of the players knew beforehand that it was Santa.
But you didn't get one of my classic overreactions, so you just got me looking at you and like...
It's one of those things where, like, it happens a lot with the Kieran Diaries of, like, Cryo just agrees with something I say. I'm like, okay, yeah, so that's canon. But then you stop and think, to what extent does anything I just said make sense in the world? And I haven't gotten to quiz Cryo on the fact that I did just, like, say, yeah, Santa exists. Like, to what extent does Santa really exist? I just know Saint Nick is somewhere. And he's having fun.
Maybe one day we'll find out.
That's our next Christmas special.
Yeah.
God.
Next question.
Lily asks, Cryo, can we know more about how the Astral Hound worked, or would have worked if we hadn't banished it? It seemed really cool, and I would love to know more about how it was going to function.
No,
I feel like
next
this question was asked before it showed back up.
Yeah, it did show back up, Oz, and we did find out more about how it worked.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been dating these questions, but yeah, that is third on my list, so probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume that Lily's question has been answered because it shows back up in combat.
Okay.
Kind of kicks my
Lily
ass.
Most things do, Noah. Lily asks, does being aware of the fact this is a show being made for an audience affect any play any effect into the decisions you make, both as players and as a DM? Is the answer different for playing and DMing a one-shot, or does it affect you the same in both?
It makes me decide to wave at the start of episodes.
Yeah, I think in terms of playing, I think it did in the beginning, just because I wasn't used to like the idea that we were being recorded and people are going to be like watching it. So I was definitely very nervous in the beginning. I was like, ugh. But now it's like, it feels very natural when playing, especially because I'm super close with everybody that we do play with. So I'm just like, yeah, just hang out with friends. Especially now that like we play a lot more home games, with like pretty much the same people. It's pretty great.
I don't have the time, man.
In terms of DMing, the only 2 times I've DM'd was on camera, and so there was that pressure of like, I've never DM'd before, but I have a lot of really good references, and people to like take inspiration from, and like I've been playing for a very long time, so I was just kind of banking that it would be all okay, and that's why like I wrote my one shots the way that they were, where like they're very linear. So I basically lowered any form of errors that could happen for myself when it comes to DMing, so that it would go on without a hitch.
And it did. It was good.
Very nervous. Oh my god.
Yeah. As far as playing for an audience, again, I had kind of asked Cryo with the sheer intent of going for an audience, and so I kind of got used to it. There are some times to where sometimes I'd make the decisions just because it would be more interesting for other people to see. The most infamous of those examples being the Griffin. Don't get me wrong, I still
yucking it up.
Yeah, I still probably would have made the decision to go after the Griffin on my own, but to try and get like a How to Train Your Dragon type moment with it probably would have. There are some times to where I realize we're on camera and I realize that we are on a time limit, quote unquote, so some of my decisions are a little snappier than they would generally be.
How has that played out for you?
Pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But no, I would say in one shots, especially DMing them, I would probably not have as grand of like cinema at the end. Like the ending for Sins, I probably wouldn't have come up with that if I didn't know that there were a bunch of people watching this and I wanted to evoke an emotional reaction at the very, very end of something that was emotional but wasn't meant to be like peaceful. It was meant to be haunting and fucked up.
I'll be honest, I would DM exactly the same way if there were not like cameras. I change. Maybe early on I tried to like really emphasize cool descriptions and moments and stuff, but like, yeah, I just DM, and it just so happens that people record and that people watch, and I appreciate that despite me not trying extra to really yuck it up for an audience, that it's something that people apparently enjoy. So heck yeah.
I will say though, with my one-shot characters, that was something I learned early on with Kieran, of just like, oh, remember that you are building something, so make sure there's some narrative weight to it. Because I wasn't a super strong narrative player. I was a mechanical player. So it was like, oh, but remember that people would want a narrative and that's what they're watching for. So with all my one-shot characters, I had to lean more into that later.
For me, to answer the question, does the fact that people are watching affect my choices or whatnot? No, I don't care. I don't care if people are watching. And in fact, it goads me to do worse things. I think like I'll do something and then I'll be like, oh, like how are people gonna respond to this? And I'll be like, oh, they're gonna be so mad. This is gonna be so fun. And like I am not dissuaded from making any decisions because there are people watching, and because I think that if I let that happen to me, I would just stop having fun. Stop having fun. Voice crack. But I would just stop having fun with the game. I don't like. I appreciate you guys, but like it's my character. I don't really care if you like what I do with them or not. I appreciate that you do, but like, you know, it's just I just like having more fun this way. But like with one shots, it's like a similar thing where I don't craft a character a different way because I know people are watching, but sometimes it's a little different where with a one-shot character I'll include something that I know will be cooler or like that I know will get like an audience reaction kind of thing along with a player reaction, like with Aricia.
Blood motif.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say specifically with Aricia and like having her little cute minions that she squashes and like pops like grapes, it just gets all over people, and like their guts and stuff, and just throws the carcass away somewhere,
Oh my
and just everyone's just being like,
onion.
no, yeah.
I love that so much because Kay and I talked about it, and Kay was the one who brought it up to me. I'm like, that would be so sick because just this sweet little cabbage thing is like, Mama, like, look, I'm doing a thing. Like, he's just like, yeah, okay,
Thank you.
bye.
And then just steps on it and just slowly
The
squishes it.
scream that came out of me in that moment was so genuine. I was so genuinely just like, no!
So,
Yeah.
so the answer is no, it doesn't affect us, except it makes us a little more impulsive. Is
Yeah.
pretty much like
You knowing that there's an audience there doesn't instill a sense to do better. It makes me want to do worse.
I think that's something that we've kind of always talked about too, is like when people really got onto us for like making mistakes. Like,
I don't give a shit.
yeah, like Doc's hand getting taken or Socks dying in the first place. It's like, it is just a game with friends, and we don't really like, we don't really like elevate it in any way. We just kind of are playing. So when I make a mistake and my hand gets taken, that just happens. And there's no reason to be critical of it because I'm a dude. I'm not an actor. I'm going to make some stupid ass decisions.
Please don't be
I mean-
critical. We have feelings.
Well,
Yeah.
like it's like a thing where some people will, and like calling you out, audience. There are like people who are not good at distincting the line between not liking a decision or a thing that a character did versus a person. Like if one of us, if one of our we make our character do something, it's fine to not like a character's choice and like be like, oh man, I didn't like this. But like when it starts getting to be like, oh, this person is a bad person because they did this thing, or this person is stupid, they are dumb, they are bad because they did yada yada. It's like, man, it's just a game. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know.
I mean, I think whenever you're dealing with the audience, you're at the risk of overcorrecting because you start off and people like it because there was no audience at the beginning. You were just kind of playing D&D as you did. But if you keep looking, then you're going to start correcting for it, and you're moving further away from why people liked it in the first place if you're really hyper aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that was. I remember the hand thing very distinctly because it was the first time we ever had to tell the audience that it's like, hey, we're just a bunch of 20-somethings. Like, and it was the one time to where I just like straight up, I remember like cleaning my hands of it and just being like, somebody else take care of this. I'm getting yelled at for a decision I made, and I can't handle it.
Yeah, the hand situation with the Griffin. I mean, it was one of those things where Noah was gonna get his hand bit because he like made a silly decision. But again, it's a game, and then the dice just rolled really against him, and he lost his hand.
Yeah.
And it's funny and it's crazy. And then we had people who were just like genuinely calling Noah a fucking moron in the Discord, and I had to make a public post being like, "Hey, stop!"
Yeah. I feel like it's also becoming this Starlost one joke. I was like, it's like Full Metal Alchemist and Nina. It's like,
Yeah,
we
will
can have
say,
multiple jokes.
as funny as some of you think it is to be like, ah ha ha, Noah, are you gonna lose a hand? It's not funny anymore. It's kind of just like I see it and I'm just like, oh yeah.
it's beating a dead horse or beating a dead griffin.
But then again, if we ever make a
being a
shirt
dead-
that just says, "Hey man, it's 2 fingers up." I don't know.
I don't get it. What's the joke?
There is no joke. I had 2 fingers left at the end of that.
Oh, I see.
Oh my god. Next
no, it was
question.
just very much literal. What's a good? Okay, so you can it's hard with a D&D game to like distinctly cut things into arcs, but you can like retrospectively say this arc, this arc, this arc. Do you guys have a favorite arc so far?
Cell Saga. Personally.
Okay.
Are we?
Sorry,
Am
I need a second. I need a fucking second.
not-
Oh my god.
Is that not
Okay,
what-
so next question.
Yeah, just move along. Fuck that question.
All right. I've had an answer.
No, go ahead, Cryo.
I was gonna say I really liked the Shade Step conference arc because it was when story stuff
Oh.
started, and I loved just seeing everyone's react. Because before that, cool stuff had happened, and people were like, "Oh, that's cool," but like plot hadn't like gone crazy. So I loved the reactions of like, "There's another duelist who calls himself Iliac. There's people attacking the conference. Why?" Sox is actually a natural born like werewolf, and then just Archibald getting kidnapped and the docks explode. Like I loved starting like kicking things off and having all of my players be like, "Oh shit, Cryo's doing this."
We're in the conference. Why?
Yeah. I think. Oh, go ahead, Kay.
No. I'm Googling
Okay.
it.
I was gonna say I think the Westwood arc specifically. It's not so much because of the arc, but because of the timing of the arc. It was right as we premiered the Ko-fi, and like right as like Discord and everything really started kicking up. So being able to see everyone's reactions week to week to that was really fucking cool.
Fair.
I liked the non-jokingly. I liked the I don't know what to call it, like the traveling around Yubua arc. The
Yubua arc.
The you arc.
Oh, but like there's multiple arcs that happen in Yubua, you fucking dimwits. Obviously, there's not just the Yubua arc.
The first half of Yubua, the coup
Damn,
arc.
he called us
I'm
dimwits.
sorry for calling you guys dimwits, but like I unconsciously
Hey.
didn't call it the Yubua arc because there were multiple arcs.
Answer this question with the cell arc.
Yeah.
But you know, I just I like the traveling, specifically like traveling up across the northern part of Yubua, like from Raven's Perch to the Asvengar. Yeah. Or like to until
The
we got to
reputation
like,
arc. I would say
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
really what that was.
that's a good way to put it. We're just like building our repertoire with the Yubuan whatever's. Yeah.
It introduced one of my favorite NPCs, Lord Drenus.
I love that motherfucker.
Lord
I was gonna
Drenus
say
is
Milnes.
I love him. I miss him.
Lord Milnus.
Lord
Lord
Milnes.
Milnes.
We don't know what he did.
Yeah, it turns out Milnes was like royalty.
Milnes takes over after Kordak dies. He's now the Lord of Ravensburg.
I really like Yubua, but I also really like the Westwood. I like the whole like war arc that we had, and then like the pre-war where we were just kind of like hanging around Westwood and like talking to each other about backstories. And then the entirety of the war arc of like Gillian fucking having many Gillians and all that, like, it was
The
It's just
Hive
so
Mind.
cool.
That's where the Lost got introduced.
I still remember
Like,
the fucking the cliffhanger. I think it was like session 48 where it was just like he breaks the talisman as you kill him, and everybody has a moment of like, fuck, what did he do? What did he do? What did he do? And then it's revealed that like just a shit ton of people turned into werewolves, and you're like,
Oh, that was
oh
also
god, that's what he did.
that was also the reveal of Hickory and Doc's like proper Kalashtar, like their mind link.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that arc had the moment with Dolus talking to Archibald through the tree. That was great.
Lying to his face.
He's proud of you.
Yep.
That was not a lie. Did he lie? Or you sucks
Yeah.
not proud of
Wow,
Archibald?
that I guess I got
God
something.
damn, Noah.
Sorry,
all right.
Archibald.
No,
actually,
he
he
lied
was,
about the fact that Socks was a lot. Well, I guess he
At no point
withheld.
did he say
I-
Sox
he
was a lie. He just
withheld.
said Sox is proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he always will be.
Moving on.
I didn't last any full arcs.
No.
The Kieran arc. The
Bro,
first
you
eight
were
Um. Okay, I think we're moving towards the end, unless anyone sees anything in my list you want to ask yourself. So I'll end on our sentimental question. Lily asked, "What has been the most fulfilling part of being involved in Starlost so far, in or out of game?"
Oof.
I love seeing the art people make of our characters. I don't know. I'm an artist. I love seeing all the work and dedication and love people put into the things that they make. It's always that I don't know, that's the best part for me. I love it so much. Thank you for all the art and animations and animatics and like everything that you guys do. Like we have fucking fanfics now. Like holy shit.
We have fanfics.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, we
Several.
do. They're pretty
We
good,
have, like, a
actually.
dozen. Yeah.
Oh,
None of them are like Doc X Dolus type shit. Like
No,
Oh,
they're like
not yet.
proper,
Yet.
well-written, sentimental fanfics. They're
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
Oh,
On a personal level, like 1-to-1, nothing makes me happier than when I finish a session and all of the players are like, that was great, that was so awesome. Like anytime I finish a session, you guys are genuinely like, before I can even ask, did everybody have fun? Like you guys are just all already on like, wow, that was great. I think the last one we had was like session like 109. You guys, you know the one.
Oh, we know the
audience
one.
doesn't, but you
We
know the one.
I don't know the one. What are we talking about?
Things happen.
Alright.
But like a good example is like session 25 with Gillian with the pirate stuff that all happened, and then session 50 when you guys fought Starlost Twink, and like things end and you guys are just excited. I love making stories that make you guys excited and happy, and so that's like my own personal like makes me the most emotionally fulfilled in the moment. As far as the audience goes, I agree with Ray entirely. Anytime I see any fan creations, I'm like, they like us enough that we like inspired them to make a thing. Wow. That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. I think not to just like copy the other two answers, but like I do like I remember when we got like our first piece of fan art and I was like, what? Like I was still grasping at the fact that there were fans and to begin with. I'm like are we sure this isn't just like people's extended contacts list like that it's just in this Discord server? But like then like we got like fan art for the first time and I was just like, what? Oh my god. Like holy, like that's so cool. Like that like people said, like it just people cared enough about the silly show we do to put their time and effort into just and to creating something. And like it's insane, but I also love like in terms of emotionally fulfilling moments, it's just like the fact that there was a that there it was past it that there is a community around this show that we put on. I straight up, when we started doing this, I had no expectations. I was just like, okay, I mean, it'll get posted. I don't imagine it'll go anywhere, but like I like playing D&D. And then like a while back I had like a moment where like I actually like went through, like one day I went through all the Discord channels and like looked, because I hadn't like looked at all of the messages in there for a while, and I was just like, people are like making friends. And like I remember when people started hanging out in like the VCs and stuff, and like there are people who are forming connections through their shared appreciation and like love of this thing that we put out, and that people are meeting each other and becoming friends. And it's just like, it's very, very nice to think about that, like this thing that we're doing is having an impact on people's lives. And it's just really, really cool to think about.
The Discord is always the most impressive part of Starlost to me, because I mean, like when you make anything, it's like, oh yeah, there will be people, and they're just kind of numbers. But then when you are like actually interacting with the people, and you could put out some like random joke thing and know there's gonna be like a dozen people who you recognize, who will respond to them, and like are actively engaging because it's meaningful to them. I will also say, because there has been at least 5 D&D games we can take some credit for, because the people met in our server.
That's so cool.
I think genuinely, in a weird way, Kay, I kind of had like an opposite opinion of you, to where like you know, when it was coming out, it was like, oh, we like D&D and we'll put it out. But like, I remember starting Starlost and like building the little infrastructure, and then I was willing, despite the fact that I had no time and all this stuff, I was like, I will make this work. I might not make it the biggest thing ever, but right now I'm going to do my damnedest to get us in front of eyes, because I know what we're making is good. And fighting tooth and nail, and I remember being crushed when we lost episode 13. That was genuinely one of the most heartbreaking moments to me, because it was my fuck up. Like I messed that up. And so, yeah, I mean, I had a really long conversation with Oz last night about genuinely like why I do this and why I lost a lot of sleep at the beginning, and why we all kind of put our heart and soul into this is because, at least in my opinion, the reason that I want to make this is because I see what Kay was talking about. I see these people where they're like, oh, it brightens my week. Oh, I've met these people. Oh, like, seeing this community build around it, and just being able to be that like one kind of semi-consistent thing to where it's like people can come back and it brightens their week a little bit. It makes them happy. It gives them a sense of belonging. It is something that I always wanted growing up, and I found it like here and there. And so genuinely, yes, we make money from the show, but we don't. Very little of it ever sees anybody's pockets other than Marcy's.
It's not like we make profit off this show. We make money so that the show continues.
That's kind of what I was getting at. We don't make money because we want to make money. We want to make money so that we can keep making this and let it be the source of joy and like community that it is.
And we want Marcy to eat.
And we want Marcy to eat. But genuinely, the most fulfilling thing is just that feeling that like this means something to you guys. And it means a lot to us too. And yeah, like we're trying our best. We're not geniuses. We're not gonna crack the YouTube code and become Critical Role overnight. But damn, if we're not gonna try.
What do you mean? Marcy? What do you mean, bruh? Throw you under the bus? I want you to have a life, so we pay you.
Yeah.
We're not letting you out of the basement, though.
My
No.
joke answer. Oh no, sorry. What you're here?
No, I'm also in the crew basement. We're
Yeah.
all down here.
My joke answer when you asked this question was gonna be the money.
What money?
The money that like literally none of us have seen. In fact, the only money that's entered anybody's pocket that isn't Marcy is because we're paying back the like the fair amount of money we put into making the show in the first place.
Yeah.
lot of logistics. Okay, I think I will end with one question for Noah from Grace Ghostlight G, one of our guests.
Oh,
Noah.
Yeah.
Noah.
What?
What's your character's favorite food?
Oh, hey.
All right, I've left the Discord, everybody, so we're gonna chill here for a little bit. Let's talk, okay? Let's have a conversation. I'll join back in the Discord so everybody can hear me. But let's talk for a second. If I hear this question again, if I hear this fucking question, I will find you.
Well, answer it. What is Hagen Doc's favorite
Yeah,
food?
well, what is it though?
We don't know.
You're lying.
What is
I
the?
don't
We
know
don't
their
know.
favorite food.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Is it algae bars or whatever?
No. They had algae bars their entire life, and then they had steak, and they're like,
They
fuck
love
yeah.
it.
They love a good ribeye, bro. They love a good ribeye.
Oh my god.
Now, if I ever hear that question, look at me. Look at me.
I'm not.
I refuse.
All right, Oz, let's wrap it up.
All right, thanks. All right, thanks for showing up to Shanties. That was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yeah. So,
Sorry we didn't get to your question, Marcy.
oh,
Marcy is the one in the chat.
I feel like we did kind of answer it at the same time, though.
Did we?
To a degree.
Question was.
I didn't look.
And we'll never know.
No.
And it'll be added for Shanties 11, which will be number 10.
Where is 9?
In the anniversary, it was never posted separately.
Then this is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, wait.
Bye.
Oh,
What?
okay, bye. Never mind. No, wait. Oh, sorry.
waiting.
Bye. No one's waiting. And
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Okay, bye.